Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment if y'all liking the content and stuff. And be sure to subscribe too, man, so we can get these algorithms going. Enjoy the video.
We're here to review Alone at Prom, okay? We're back at it again. Tory's been kind of on like a hot streak lately. If I was to say so myself, like he's been dropping music consistently, like project after project for like the last 2 years, ever since the incident. And yeah, he's back with another one. This time it's an 80s inspired R&B pop record, as he claimed it.
Yeah, it's an 80s album pretty much.
It's an 80s joint. And yeah. So let's get into it, man. How you feel about the album?
Alright, so look, I like this album. Can't even lie about it. But one thing about this album, as far as like listening to it and stuff, like I don't know. I seen where a lot of people was talking about like, you know what I'm saying, comparing this to the Weeknd's album. And I don't know, to me I feel like these two came and made two separate albums. Just far as like with Tory Lanez and this album right here is 80s inspired, of course. I feel like what he does with this album, you know what I'm saying, it's sort of like a chicks tape. I feel like he made chicks tapes the 80s edition with this album because it's pretty much like his rendition. I don't know, to me it feel like a bunch of renditions of a bunch of like old 80s like pop records or whatever. He just modernizing them and putting this Tory Lane stuff on it in a way. So yeah, I enjoyed this album for what it is. Pretty much, I feel like each song on here is about like some heartbreak type of joint. The album is called "Alone at Prom," and just like lyric wise and all that stuff, I feel like it sort of matches the theme of the album.
Man, look at here. I do not like this album. I'm sorry. But
What is wrong?
I know, man, this whole weekend comparison shit gotta stop. Alright, my G. Like, I understand they both 80s inspired. You know, a lot of artists kind of been doing the whole throwback, going back to different decades of genres of music and stuff like that. But some artists can just execute it better than others. And I just don't think Tory Lanez is one of those artists, alright? Like, alright, going into it, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of wasn't really too keen or excited about hearing this album, but I didn't go into it with bad intentions. I'm not gonna say I went into it with bad intentions. I went into it with objective opinions, objective criticism, because I'm not gonna say I'm a Tory Lanez fan, but I listen to Tory Lanez. I like Tory Lanez's music for the most part. You know, if he drops a song I like, I'll definitely put it in the rotation. But going into this, it starts off with the whole Enchanted Waterfalls, which was cool, you know what I'm saying? But then it goes into the next track. Matter of fact, let me put it down track list. Pink Dolphins Sunset featuring T. It started to get. It's funny because like when I first got into this album, like off the first three tracks alone, I was kind of bored. I'm like, there's nothing going on with this album that's creative, that's different. It's like he's trying to do his best impression of whatever 80s pop singer you can come up with in your head. Like Bon Jovi, fucking Madonna, whoever the fuck you want to call. Like this nigga over here is literally even singing like how them niggas was singing in back in them days. Like, you wanna be my love, you wanna be my baby, you wanna be my love. And I'm just like, alright, bro, alright, this is. And then the production wasn't really too wild to me either. It was kind of on some, like you said, it was some 80s inspired synths. It was a lot of 80s inspired synths and like elements like that. But it was just over some modern day beats, like modern day drum patterns, 808s and stuff like that. And he just said, fuck it. Slap that shit on there. We're going to call this shit an 80s album. And I was kind of like, alright, this isn't too original or anything like that. So halfway through this album, I kind of checked out. It was just kind of background music, and yeah, I don't see myself returning to this at all. But the other albums he put out before this, I fuck with. That's what was crazy. But yeah, I don't think this 80s style is for him. Stick to the chicks tapes or 90s music, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
See, with that being said, it's like we agree on the same thing, but we feel two different ways about it. While you hate it, I love it. I like what he did with this, and I don't know.
Right, and I haven't said I hate an album in a long time, but I hate this shit.
See, it's like see with him, with me, it's like once I realized, like once I put this in my head, like I don't know, pretty much off the first, like when I first listened to this song, I mean when I first listened to this album or whatever, like I like the songs off rip, and I had to go back through it a second time. I was like, bro, do I really like this album right now? Yes, bro, I really like this album, bro. Like, I don't know. He to me he did his thing. Like to me, I just had to realize legit that this album ain't nothing but Chicks Tapes, the 80s editions. And it's like once I got
great value.
Like once I got that in my head, I was like, okay, I like this album for what it is. Now, far as like when comparing it to like the Weeknd's album and stuff like that or whatever, I don't know. I feel like the Weeknd's album feels a bit more original. In a way,
it was way more freaking original, okay? From the production to the lyrics to the overall concept. My nigga took a style and made it his own. That's how you do that shit, okay? You hear that Tory Lanez? I'm sorry. You hear that Daystar? That's how you do that shit, alright? You take a concept and you make it your own. Not just copy. You know what? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Nah, because I'm about to get my shit off in this nigga ass. So, the thing with Tory that I've been hearing a lot of criticism for him, and goes back to even like the beginning of his career, when he first broke out with Say It and whatever other songs he had before that. But he just kind of takes who's ever popular or whose sound is popping. He basically just takes them and does his own version of it. And it don't hit the same. Like, you can tell this nigga is clearly emulating or imitating somebody else. Like, even with the I Told You So record, which I do like that record. Like, not trying to throw shade on the record or
CD vibes.
Thank you. That's what I was going with that. I mean, it's the great value version of Good Kid, Mad City. And I was kind of like, even with the skits, I'm like, this nigga has a lot of freaking skits on this album, bro. So, he kind of just been doing that over and over again with his projects. This nigga's like the Black Logic. Oh, God, can I say that?
Oh, wow. I don't know how to feel about that phrase. But,
I don't know. Like, but yeah, man, I really wasn't feeling this album, but I still fuck with Tory. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like his music. This album's not for me personally. Like, yeah, I'm not. Yeah. So for those saying that he made a better album than The Weeknd, stop it, because he didn't.
I mean, yeah, I don't agree with that. I definitely returned to The Weeknd's album more than I returned to this album, but at the same time, that still, for me personally, that still don't stop the fact that Tory Lanez made a great album. I really do like
great.
I like it, bro.
You calling this great?
Because I like this album for what it is.
Is this album great or is it decent? I'm not even gonna say good. Is it great? You know what? I'll get in the bit of it now. Is this album great or is it good?
Good.
I can take good.
I give you good.
I'll take it. I'll take good.
I give you good.
Grade? I don't know about grade. Like, yeah, grade.
Chicks Tapes, the 80s editions, man. That's
that nigga said Chicks
Tapes. That is in my head, and I will listen to it for what it is, and I like it for what it is.
Man, look at bruh. This nigga definitely did his best impressions of 80s music. And maybe if he was born around that time, he'll probably be very, very successful in that era, maybe.
So my only question for you right now. So you don't like you don't like Lady Anemic at least?
Lady Dynamic, yeah. I actually
Come
that
on.
song Powder was like the only decent song that I fucked with. I do like that song a lot.
Obviously, because you don't like come on. Can we play with stars
Like
tonight?
I feel like
Hey.
he would have done a lot better with this album if he kind of had more songs kind of geared towards the slow jam of the 80s. If you guys kind of get what I'm saying? Like, I really don't want to keep using The Weeknd as a comparison, but what's that song on this album? The one that's kind of like the kind of almost on some Quincy Jones inspired type shit, like the one that came right after Quincy's
Oh, you
interlude.
talking about the Out of Time joint?
Yes, that's a beautiful ass song.
I mean, but
If
that's the
he
thing.
did stuff like that, I think this album would have went over a lot better.
I don't know. For me, well, that's the thing though. See, that goes back to what I was saying though. When I say like, I feel like the Weeknd's project was more. They came at it in two different ways. I feel like the Weeknd kind of came into it like on some like when you listen to his sound is more like we said, it's a little bit more original, and it got like this set sort of like this morbid ass mood. Like he still got the high tempo, up bass ass music and stuff, but at the same time, like he still kind of he got the low vibrational shit on here too. Versus like Tory Lanez album to me, it's kind of like it feels more, it feels pop. Like it just feels like it's just I don't know. This album feels bright. That makes sense. Just the way that it sounds and stuff like that. It has a more lighter tone when comparing it to the Weeknd. So I feel like he went so like when it comes to like the sound wise and stuff like that, I feel like Tory Lanez went for more his sound is more mainstream pop compared to the Weeknd's album. Mainstream 80s pop.
Wait. Okay, hold on. Mainstream 80s pop. Okay, I'm not really a big fan of 80s. Oh, I ain't gonna say I ain't a big fan of 80s music like that. I don't really go back to the 80s music like that besides like Michael Jackson or like if you want to go Prince or something like that. But like that whole toom, 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 girls just wanna have fun, all that type of shit. I don't really go to that decade. Like I like 90s and I like 70s. Hell, I even go back to the 60s. Goddamn, sometimes. But 80s is kind of like, you know what I'm saying? 80s was cool to me, but I see what you're saying with that though. I do see I get where you going with that. I think one of the big difference to me in the Weeknd in Tory Lanez's project, I can tell the Weeknd took his time and like really crafted together a conceptual, well thought out project that just so happens to be 80s inspired. This nigga Tory Lanez just took a bunch of 80 elements and added it to his shit and goddamn put it out. Cause literally like I don't even want to say 3 months, but like early that year, probably like in the summertime, he dropped another project, which was like his typical R&B rap trap shit, and that project was fire. And like a few months later, he comes out and announces this album. So I'm like, oh, okay. And then he announces it's going to be Alone at Prom, the 80s album type deal. I'm like, it sounds interesting, but...
I love the Jerry Curl, by the way.
This nigga here. I don't even think I've seen a music video from this album. I should go and look for one because I just want to kind of see where he went with it. Because I do enjoy his videos. His music videos are lit. But yeah, this project is it sounds rushed. I'm gonna say that it sounds rushed. It sounds like he didn't really try. He just kind of like having fun in a sense with it, and that's okay. Cool. That's cool too. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's still not for me.
So overall, you just not feeling it.
I ain't coming back to this shit.
I can respect that. I ain't gonna lie. I've been going back to this album a little bit more frequent than usual and stuff. This album low key surprised me. This is probably the first Tory Lanez album for me personally that I've just gone back to continuously, if that makes sense.
Wow.
It really, well, I ain't gonna lie, besides the damn Daystar project because I'm messy, but yeah,
They
But
Storm was good.
yeah, I really do. I like this album for what it is. And I feel like he did his thing with it. And yeah, some people like it, some people don't. But please stop with the weekend comparisons. What is your favorite? Do you even have any favorite songs off this album right now? All right, that was a big note. Silence. All right.
Lady Anemic. Lady Anemic. I'll
Alright,
go with Lady Anemic.
let me see. Midnight Interlude, Ballad of a Bad Man, Lady Anemic, Pluto's Last Comet, and Hurt for
Trash.
Mercury. Those are my favorite songs.
I see he's in his astrology bag. The Mercury must have hit a renegade on him.
Man,
Mm-hmm.
all these planets, man. Honestly, I would be okay I would be okay with him alone at prom too. You know,
What? No.
Tor, if
No.
you watching this,
No.